for Rakesh also have given. Fine. So we started discussing about these headings in the last class. That is different IoT application transport methods. We have made some categories, some types, some of the protocols like which we use to transport, which we call them as the transport methods. I just gave a brief about this four in the last class, and I discussed the first one, that is application layer protocol not present. Second is SCADA, that is supervisory control and data acquisition. Third is generic web-based protocols. Fourth one is IoT application layer protocols. So these are the four categories of transport methods. And I started discussing about the first one, that is application layer protocol not present. This I gave you. And quickly I'll again brief of. This is mainly used for the devices which will transmit or send or receive few bytes of data, not the huge data, where you have a few. If it is hundreds of thousands of bytes of data, I think that also I discussed. That's if it is to be transmitted hundreds of thousands of sensors data, then what we can use, this I told about IoT data. Let's slide show it. IoT data broker that was discussed with as per this diagram. This is our IoT data broker, which is used to get the sensor values from different data types, different types of some different routers, where it makes the common standardized format. So that can be used by application A or application B or application C or any of the customer side or server side applications. This I give you. I mean, the problem is with the if you are going to get the hundreds of thousands of sensor data, where we get those sensor values of different types, different formats, then we need to use IoT data broker. Remember this word, because they can definitely ask you, explain the IoT data broker, or they can ask you for this diagram directly. Yes, this is IoT data broker itself. They can ask you like this also. I told yes, for some sensors like XYZ, also temperatures, some other formats where we use for those kind of devices, we use first one, application layer protocol not present. I told you already, it does not use any of the protocol, directly transmit. I think I told you in that categories already. Okay. What is that? Yeah, it's here. I told you. So this data payload is directly transported on the top of the lower layers. I mean, we don't use any specific application layer protocol for this category. That you need to remember that. Now we'll take the second one, that is SCADA, supervisory control and data acquisition. Already this word is used frequently in previous classes. This is mainly used to monitor remotely, especially when you want to monitor remotely some of the devices where it has some sensor values, and to control. So two things it is used: to monitor and to control remotely some of the devices. So it was initially implemented without IP over serial links, okay, before it is going to be adapted to the IPv4 or Ethernet. So this mainly this SCADA, they're used to collect sensor data and telemetry from remote. I told you already the word remote devices, okay, while also providing ability to control. This also I use the word, mainly it is to control, okay, remotely, and it collects the data, sensor data and telemetry. So right now this SCADAs in today's networks, they allow global real-time data-driven decisions to be made about how to improve business processes. Mainly this kind of thing, most of the industries especially, you can take JSW to the small scale industry to the very big scale industries. So most of the industries needs some devices where they need to collect the some sensor data, temperature, smoke, whatever. You can take a big apartment in Bangalore also, where we can use SCADA kind of systems. And this also can be found in various industries. Just now I told you the word industries, mainly concentrated in the, look at which industries this kind of SCADA is concentrating, utilities and manufacturing verticals, especially for the utilities, common utilities where we use in industries and in manufacturing also. And for some specific industries, this can also be used as certain protocols for communications between devices and applications. If you want to communicate between those, then we can use SCADA also. For example, they told you here Modbus and its variants or industrial protocols are used to monitor and program remote devices via master-slave relationships. So this is an example, Modbus. I think currently what we call it as some of the IoT-based examples like Siri, Alexa, and one of the example of SCADA is Modbus. And this Modbus is also found in building management. Just now I told you about apartments. Yes, mainly this Modbus is used in the building management, transportation, and energy applications, especially street lights. If you have in your place, for example, your town, some district place, or big cities like a Bangalore, Chennai, Kolkata, where you want to monitor the street lights, whether it's going to be on, off automatically, and transportation and energy applications and building managements, this Modbus is used. And the DNP3 and International Electrotechnical Commissions that we call IEC, these protocols are found mainly in the utilities industries along with this DLMS, whatever they use advanced meter reading. These kind of SCADAs are also used in these systems, the International Electrotechnical Commissions, and AMR, advanced meter reading also. I don't know whether how many of you are able to fetch the electricity bill of your home. As it is currently lockdown is extended, even lockdown was till some other days. I think every month, first week or second week, the person from electric KEB used to come and used to read the meters, and he used to give the value like some printout of a electricity bill. But now what they told, like you can get the bills by sending SMS, or some of the apps. I think we are using this Phone Pay, Google Pay, Amazon Pay, or some JESCOM based applications. Directly give your RR number, some number whatever we use, automatically it fetches the current bill. So that means they are directly reading some of the values. It may not be directly using Wi-Fi, but based on some analysis, even they are going to use. Okay. And I told SCADA which how it has started adapting for IP. In the 1990s, the rapid adoption of Ethernet networks in the industrial world. So this SCADA started, the evolution of SCADA started in the 1990s only. In order to support the legacy industrial protocols over IP networks, protocol specifications, where you had a existing one. Legacy means old, the old industries where you want to use IP networks, voice over IP, etc., etc. IP is mainly for transmitting data where you want to do it out. Then we started using this SCADA. So this is included assigning a TCP or UDP port numbers even to the protocols, as below mentioned, like DNP3. It specifies the use of TCP or UDP port, which port you want to use, TCP or UDP. And the Modbus messaging service utilizes TCP port 502. I think you might have seen about port numbers for HTTP 500, 504, and even those are error codes. And we use this 8080 in a local network. So I think you might have used already. That is local IP colon 8080 port numbers to access the particular server. Likewise, this TCP port 502 was used in Modbus. Likewise, they used in a different applications also. Then in the fourth one, this is the third one, and the fourth example for is DLMS. Okay, so these were used as a communication profile mainly, and it uses in legacy serial protocols have adopted and evolved to utilize IP and TCP UDP as both. I mean together you utilize IP and TCP UDP as both networking and transport mechanisms. So you are going to use for this purpose, for networking and transport mechanisms. And it allowed utilities and other companies to continue leveraging their investment in equipment and infrastructures, because they wanted to invest on some of the equipments where they want to get some benefits or whatever they want to communicate. Then they thought these are the best method for transporting. And this protocols DNP just now I told you, it's based on master slave relationship, because master slave means there will be one master who is a leader who can control the rest of the slaves. So it's typically a powerful computer located in the control center of the utility, and the slaves is a remote device with computing resources found in that particular. It starts monitoring all those slaves. Outstation monitor and collect the data from devices. This does especially, and indicate their state such as weather, a circuit breaker is on or off and take some measurements, including voltage, current, temperature, and so on. And inside engines and some places where you want to read some of the values of the particular machines, then you use sensor. There, these kind of SCADAs are used, protocols. And this IEEE 1812 specification describes how DNP3 protocol implementation must be adapted. It says that, and it defines the connection management between the DNP3 protocol and IP layers, because you wanted to establish this connection management. We'll see in the next. The IP layers appear transparent to the DNP3 layers as each piece of the protocol stack in one station logically communicating. We'll see the protocol stack in the next slide. It means that DNP3 endpoints or devices are not aware of the underlying IP transport that is occurring. So you can see in this diagram, you can understand. Here we have a master. This is the out station called as a slave. And here we have all these things for connection management. Here also it is there. And see that DNP3 application layer, transport function, data link layer. Here we have the common, as usual, we have IP layers, transport network and data link or physicals of this common IP3. And this is DNP3 protocol. And how protocol stack for transporting serial DNP3 SCADA or IP. I mean, using both. And you are going to implement this DNP3. This diagram explains that. So in this diagram, the master, what we say, like master side initiates the connections always, because master is the one who is the person who is going to start. He initiates the connections by performing a TCP active open. And the outstation, this is the outstation. It starts listening for a connection request by performing a TCP passive open. And dual endpoint is defined as a process that can both listen. So dual endpoint can used. Okay, where we have that here. It's going to be exist in this particular. Okay, and this dual endpoint is defined as a process that can both listen for a connection request and perform an active open on the channel if required. If you want to communicate together, that's bidirectional dual endpoint. Otherwise, it's going to just initiate the connections and the outstation starts listening and performing the action what master says. And master sessions may parse multiple. They used to parse multiple DNP, the data link layer frames from a single UDP datagram, and that's a function of the master session. Single or multiple connections to the master may get established while a TCP keep alive timer monitors the status of the connections. So you can even connect more than one or more than one.